Hello people, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you 5 different redstone builds that are pretty simple and most of all fun. So, get right into it here. You can see them all lined up. The first one is really simple. This is an extremely basic redstone build that just about anybody could make. It's just a 2x2 piston door. So, building this piston door could not be simpler. All you need is 4 sticky pistons, 6 blocks of your choice, 2 pressure plates, and some redstone torches and redstone. So all you're going to do is you're going to start off placing your pistons like this with blocks connecting them. These will be your door. And then 2 blocks behind each piston stack, or a block behind each piston stack like that. Then you're going to place redstone on top of each block and dig out some space underneath the door. So you want to be connected to there, and then oops, in the block directly under the one that you place the redstone on, you're going to put a torch so it powers it just like that. Next, you're going to take a bunch of redstone, hook it up just like so, cover everything so you don't have any awkward holes poking out, and then right in front of your door you place pistons, and then it's as easy as that now. You can also place blocks surrounding it to cover it up, which makes it look a lot nicer. And I like to use these doors. It's very quick and easy, so if you're in a sort of mid-game of survival, very simple build that will add a lot to your base, and it just looks nice. So yeah, that's a very easy, simple build that just about anybody could make. So the next build that I'm going to be showcasing is a piston feedback loop. Now, I'm really bad at making these. You can definitely make them more efficient, but this is just a method that works. Now, unfortunately, since I'm in Java Edition and I can't really push around any sort of item containers, you can use these in like Bedrock to make a rotating storage, which looks really cool and is just nice to have. But in here, I've just used a redstone clock to make it feedback with a bunch of different colors of concrete. And as you can see, it just pushes all the blocks you have in a circle. Not super useful, at least in Java Edition, but it is still a fun thing to build and looks cool. Now, this is probably one of the more complex builds I'm going to have. All you'll need is your pistons, redstone dust, redstone repeaters, and lever, and then blocks of your choice. So what I'm going to do is place it like this, and I'm making mine 3 blocks, but you want to have the block placed so that it almost makes a symbol that you're not allowed to show on YouTube. And you're going to put pistons like this so they're all facing inwards towards the gap in front of the next piston. And then what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and make a redstone clock. 1 tick is good. And then you need to, hold on, make sure you have all the timings set up so that you want these 2 firing at the same time and then those 2 firing at the same time in alternating order. And I actually did this completely wrong. Let me grab like that. And I said, this is I'm not the best at doing these, so they do tend to get messy, very messy. But essentially, you want to have something like this. Obviously, you can make it way more compact than this. I'm just throwing it together. Then you place blocks like that, break 2 of the corners, and then ideally, when you start it up, if you do it right, then you get a working feedback loop. Now give me a second to fix this. Okay, so it turns out I'm actually an idiot this whole time. The problem was just with the timings. You need to, instead of using a 2-tick timer, you need to use 2 1-tick repeaters. And then when you start it up, you get a feedback loop just like this. And now if this were honey blocks, I'd be rotating in circles, but they aren't. Like I said, this whole thing can be made a lot more compact. Like for example, if I wanted to, I could dig a hole underneath this and hide all this junk underneath there, and it would look a lot nicer. But that's the general idea. And yeah, this is another one that not too cost effective, just sometimes requires a little bit of messing around to get it to work. And yeah, so moving on to the next contraption. I've built a very rudimentary wave machine. Now, this is another one. It costs quite a bit, but it's not too complicated to set up. And this one is almost completely useless. I just think it looks really nice. So all you have to do is set up that. It looks just like that. And then you can take an armor stand and put them. It could be any entity also. You could use mine carts. I just don't feel like setting that up. Use all sorts of stuff, falling sand. But then when you flick this, it launches them up into the air. And because I'm bad at making things, it misses every third bounce, but you get the idea. And then, I said, this one is not really useful. It's just very nice looking. So I'll show you how to build it right now. So this is another one, as I said, that's really quite simple. I'm just going to build a smaller one than what was over there for the sake of this not taking forever. And I also forgot. All you need is sticky pistons, which you're going to be placing in a grid like this, one block apart. And actually I've already done it wrong. But yeah, so you need any block of your choice, sticky pistons and slime blocks. Then you need redstone, repeaters, a lever, and an armor stand. And pretty much all you're gonna do is put your obsidian in a grid like this, one block apart. Well, I chose obsidian, you can kind of choose whatever. And then you just make your repeaters. So you want to have it so that every single block gets powered. And the way I like to do that is by taking this obsidian and then I branch it out to the left and right and then back into the left and right. So going here you get kind of a diagonal pattern, and then if I were to make it bigger, then it would keep going in that diagonal pattern. So it'd go like that. But I'm not making it bigger, so once you've done that, you just need your sticky pistons and then slime block on top. Then you take the item of your choice and you put those on top of the slime blocks. I'm just using armor stands because they're the easiest to set up, but additionally, if you wanted to, you could take a minecart and a rail, and then when you put the rail down and you hit the minecart, you can break the rail out from under it. And then you mess around with the timings a little bit if you even want to use a redstone clock. But basically, this one's probably not gonna work perfectly. Yeah, I made it too short, so let me fix this really quick. So I've gone ahead and tweaked it a little bit. I also went ahead and added minecarts on top of everything, but actually you need to make all these repeaters have 2, not 1. I'll probably put some text on screen while editing that says that, but now you can see So actually you need to make sure you actually build a redstone clock, and then and only then will you actually be able to build the working wave machine. You can see this is a very small scale example. You can make it way bigger, I mean theoretically infinite, but yeah, it just looks cool. Don't really do anything. I guess you can sit in the minecarts, but that messes up everything. Yeah, just another pretty easy to make simple machine that's just sort of fun. Now on to the next one. So after that slight mishap, I've fixed it up. As you can see, it's easy to connect multiple flying machines in a way that when one takes off, it pulls everything else with it. And this, again, chaining them together like this is used in a lot of big contraptions. Like if you've ever made an automatic bamboo or sugarcane farm on a big scale, it probably uses something like that, kelp as well. Alright, so after screwing up for the 19,000th time, it is possible, this is just one example, but using basic flying machine principles, I've managed to create this, which as it goes creates a 2x2 path for you to walk on. And this is obviously, again, another one that you probably wouldn't have much use for unless I guess you're playing on a super flat world. It's just a very good way to showcase, and you can also launch yourself forward against it. But this is just to showcase the things you can do with the flying machines. And so the basics of building flying machine engines are really easy. You just need observer with the face away from the back of the piston with 2 slime blocks on top, and then it's sort of the same thing on the other side. You just do it like that. and whenever you give either of these observers an update, it's just going to start taking off like that. And that's really loud, so let me turn down my volume really quick. And you can kind of see it just goes on its own, very simple, and you can do a lot with flying machines. And the last machine I'm going to be showcasing today is a block swapper. Now, again, pretty simple. This is probably a little bit more convoluted than it needs to be, but you can take any two blocks and swap them back and forth. Now, there's not much, I guess, practical use for this. So apparently you're not allowed to push those. I didn't know. You can. But there's loads of decorational use. So if I do not break the lever and instead flick it like a normal person, then you can see stone brick comes up, crafting table pops out, or goes back in. And like I had set up before, you can use something like a sea lantern to have a very fancy light switch because it's flush with the wall, but it comes out with a flick of a lever. And as I said, this is another one like the piston feedback loop that's more interesting on Bedrock Edition than Java Edition, where you can have a chest that pops out of the wall or something like that. But this one is still it's still pretty cool. I'm trying to think of other blocks that you can use, but I don't think there's too much other interesting ones. This one took way too much playing with to get right, but all I've really done is used a redstone torch to keep this piston always activated. So, and then put a repeater. I have two repeater pulses because it's really weird. When I flick it off, this repeater wants to turn off before this repeater, which makes this thing pull before, or this thing, yeah, it makes this thing retract after this thing pushes, and then it just doesn't want to push. So with this, as you can kind of see over here, the repeater over here deactivates, which retracts the sea lantern, and then the repeater over here flickers this redstone torch, which allows the piston to push back. And you also need that because if you didn't at the start here, or if you did it incorrectly, then this sea lantern would just push out with the brick, and you'd have just random bricks in front of your sea lantern. So this one, like I said, more decorational use than practical use, especially when compared to Bedrock Edition because of the pushing containers feature. But another pretty simple, not too complicated, fun build that you could use to impress your friends. And so thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, or I hope you can use these contraptions for something, and see you guys in the next one.